Howdy, Marijuana Nation. Apologies for the super late show today. As many of you know, I'm a single dad with a very awesome little toddler who unfortunately came down with something last night. With no last minute babysitting options available, I had to push back my work today so I could hang out and read books and play with stuffed bears. All in all, a pretty great way to spend the day. But it does nicely illustrate where we are as a company because MJ Today Media is, right now, pretty much a one-man show. I obviously have a hugely gifted crew of regulars and hosts who make our weekly show Marijuana Today happen, but this podcast and all the production work for all of our titles rests on my shoulders. We're at the point, though, where that's soon to change. Business is picking up, and I'm nearly at the point where it's too much for me to handle all on my own. So, long story short, I'm hoping that in the not-too-distant future, our publishing schedule won't get knocked out of whack whenever my 2-year-old gets sick. Thanks for the presumed patience. Today's episode of Marijuana Today Daily is brought to you by the legal pros over at McCabe Law of Portland, Maine. Principal Chris McCabe and his team of legal cannabis industry pros know all the right things that need to get done when incorporating new companies, securing necessary licensing, ensuring compliance, evaluating risk management, making strategic decisions, and setting up good local and state government relations. Whether you're just getting started in the legal marijuana industry or looking to expand your current operations, you need a great firm like McCabe Law on your side. You have enough things to worry about. Let McCabe Law take a load off your mind. Swing over to McCabeLawLLC.com to check out a list of all the services they provide and to learn more about how to get in touch. That's McCabeLawLLC.com, which is spelled MCCABE LawLLC.com. Good morning, Marijuana Nation. It's Monday, August 27th, 2018, and you're tuned in to episode 558 of Marijuana Today Daily. I'm your host, Shay Gunther, and I'll be walking you through today's marijuana news and headlines. As always, we have a full and busy day of cannabis news in our hands, so let's jump right into it. We start the day off in Oklahoma, where on Saturday, the state threw open the gates and started accepting applications for its soon-to-launch medical marijuana program, receiving by the end of the day applications from 996 patients, 3 caregivers, and 615 businesses. Oklahoma's medical marijuana license application process is entirely online. The state's Department of Health says it will respond to all applications within 2 weeks, and on Saturday went ahead and processed and approved 23 patient applications as a test of its systems. In all, $1.5 million in fees from applicants was collected by the state that same day. Late last week, Pennsylvania's medical marijuana program was hit by a wave of downtime after software company MJ Freeway's seed-to-sale tracking system went down. The Colorado-based company has been in the headlines lots over the last year after being hit by various hacks, outages, and data and code leaks. A spokesperson for MJ Freeway said the downtime was, quote, not ideal, unquote, and said that the problem stemmed from a systems upgrade. Sam Wood at the Philadelphia Inquirer is reporting on discontent by some Pennsylvania dispensary owners who are not only upset about these service outages, but also about the $10,000 cost of MJ Freeway's system, which they are mandated by the state to buy and use. Sam's also reporting that MJ Freeway secured the $10.4 million contract to provide the state services by submitting a bid several million dollars lower than the competition. Not a bad one to open up for the full read. Our final top story today winds down in Colorado, where on Friday, Denver approved its second marijuana social use permit. The permit to open space where people can legally consume cannabis was granted to a business calling itself Vape and Play, which will feature a multi-use vape bar where people can consume marijuana they bring in themselves. Denver gave out its first license in February after voters passed a November ballot initiative setting up a pilot program testing the concept of the public social use of marijuana. Those are our top stories for today. It's time for Marijuana Today Daily Headlines Blitz. Before we blitz out on headlines, let's quickly thank our sponsor, McCabe Law of Portland, Maine. I'm happy and proud to drop a quick disclaimer here that I am a client of McCabe Law, having used them to incorporate the business entity under which this podcast operates. While that is a rather easy legal process in comparison to the complexities that come with operating a legal cannabis business, it did afford me an opportunity to see how McCabe Law runs, and I can report that all cylinders are running smoothly. McCabe Law's team of experts know their game and work together to provide their clients with a top-notch experience. If you need help getting your legal cannabis business started or want to expand in the Maine or Massachusetts markets, then you should pause this podcast right now and open up McCabeLawLLC.com to learn more about all the legal services provided by the pros at McCabe Law and to find out how to get in touch. That's McCabeLawLLC.com, which is spelled MCCABE LawLLC.com. All right, time for the Blitz. On Friday, a spokesperson for the Massachusetts Attorney General clarified that Massachusetts towns and cities have the right to ban medical marijuana businesses from opening through the use of zoning restrictions. That's a rather new concept, as the state's 2012 medical marijuana law carves out protections from towns and businesses blocking medical cannabis. This one is deep and detailed, so I'd swing over to the Telegram for the full read if you're involved in the Massachusetts market. The Salt Lake Tribune has a good story up looking at the conflict between the Mormon Church, which recently came out in opposition to a medical marijuana voter initiative in Utah, and its church members who rely on medical cannabis to treat various ailments. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints actually announced late last week that it wasn't opposed to the idea of medical marijuana, just the ballot measure going before Utah voters in November, known as Proposition 2. Another good one to open up and read in full. There's a good story in the Financial Post looking at speculation in legal marijuana business circles over possible future investments made in the industry by deep-pocketed alcohol giants. The rumor mills are especially flying after the enormous $1 billion investment into the Canadian marijuana company Canopy Growth by alcohol giant Constellation Brands, which you might know for their Corona beer. Besides that deal, another joint venture was recently announced by Molson Coors and the marijuana company Hydropothecary. With the prospects for legal cannabis being what they are, combined with the current decline in alcohol sales, makes a lot of business sense for more booze giants to cover their bases by buying into legal cannabis. Yet another one I'd read today. Late last week, the Oregon Liquor Control Commission announced that the amount of medical marijuana registered patients were allowed to buy in a single day was being cut by more than 95%. But before you get your pitchforks out, you should know that the temporary emergency rules cut the amount of medical cannabis any given patient is allowed to buy in a day from 24 ounces to a still respectable 1 ounce. 24 ounces is 1.5 pounds of marijuana. The OLCC announced the change after it noticed trends in its data showing that some people appeared to be buying inordinate amounts of cannabis thought to be then sold in dry eastern Oregon counties or outside the state. Given how low marijuana prices in Oregon have been, that's probably not a terrible policy change. On Saturday, Illinois Governor Bruce Rauner signed into law a bill that legalized industrial hemp. The bill, titled the Industrial Hemp Act, sailed through the state legislature with incredible support, with a 106-3 vote count in the House and unanimously in the state Senate, and will go into effect right away. Illinois state agriculture officials say they will start work on rules and regulations for how hemp will actually be grown and processed. Nevada's Black Rock City springs to life this week as the annual Burning Man Festival takes place, and there's an interesting storyline involving state legal marijuana and the federal law, which, as we all know, still considers cannabis illegal. Marijuana is now legal in Nevada, where Burning Man is located, for both adult use and medical consumers, but Black Rock City, the actual location for the event, is located on federal lands and is patrolled by federal law enforcement officials, who still detain and arrest people for possession of marijuana. If you're headed out to the playa yourself soon, keep that in mind. And for the rest of us, this is just an interesting story to read. The same general disparity exists in any legal state with federal lands. Think any national park in California, Oregon, and Washington. And finally for today, Vice has a good, proper, long-form article up diving into a case of misplaced justice involving an Oregon man who spent 25 years on the run from a cannabis charge only to be nabbed by the feds at the age of 76 when he tried to apply for Medicare to take care of a bum hip. Steve Causey, also known as John Forbes by the federal government, now holding him prisoner in a maximum security prison in New York State, was arrested in 2014 for a 1992 arrest for dealing marijuana from which he skipped bail on. Mr. Causey was found guilty in absentia and given a 5 to 15-year prison sentence, which he did not start serving until being nabbed in 2014 after needing medical care. This is a good read. Pile it on to your list of ones to open up. Those are the headlines and news for the day. I'll be back with you again tomorrow morning with another information-packed episode of Marijuana Today Daily. But in the meantime, if you have any stories to share or feedback to give, zip us an email to headlines@mjtodaydaily.com. And while you're clicking around the interwebs, swing over to our Twitter account at mjtodaydaily and visit our website at mjtodaydaily.com to find links to all the news we cover. Thanks to our sponsor, McCabe Law of Portland, Maine, and to all of our awesome patron listeners for the support that makes this show possible. To join the lesser ranks of the patron listeners yourself, swing over to our website at mjtodaydaily.com and click on that big blue button at the top of the page that says Become a Patron. I'm your host, Shay Gunther. Thanks for tuning in, starting your day with marijuana today.
One take, Shay. One take.